Well, just before Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday, 3 Conservative MPs walked across the floor of the House of Commons to sit with former Labour MPs in the newly formed independent group. It was a pretty stunning sight. Well, joining us now is the man responsible for party management, the Conservative Party chairman, Brandon Lewis. Thanks for being on the show this morning.
Good morning.
How did you feel when you heard the news that you were going to lose these 3 Conservatives?
Sad, actually. It's always regrettable when you lose colleagues. You know, I've known Anna particularly for a very, very long time. We were both up in Nottinghamshire together as candidates many years ago. So, no, it's really sad to lose colleagues who clearly feel so passionate about a particular issue.
Did you try and stop them leaving?
First I knew of them definitely leaving was pretty much around the time they announced it, and it's a real surprise and a real shame, actually. It always is. If you lose a colleague, particularly colleagues you've worked with, and I know I was with a big number of our party members yesterday who've helped work over the years to get people elected. It's always regrettable, but these are, we've got to understand these 3 colleagues, ex-colleagues, have very strong views about what they stand for, and we've got to respect them. We may not agree with it, but we have to respect it. You say you have to respect it,
but you don't agree with it. And obviously, I know you're talking about Brexit there, but they have other issues with the direction that the Conservative Party is going in as well. Like, for example, in the resignation letter, they said that the Conservative Party has abandoned its modernising values and it's shifting to the right. I mean, are you going to do any soul search here and take these concerns on board? Well,
I think if we look at what's happened this week, there's a big difference. We've seen a group of Labour MPs leave the Labour Party, primarily, as they've said, over racism, anti-Semitism, a toxic environment. I think that is a very sad state of affairs.
There's a toxic environment in the Conservative Party as well, isn't there?
Whereas our colleagues who have left primarily over a policy issue, which is really regrettable. But in terms of where we stand as a party, I would just say, look, this is a party that's seen record levels of employment, record levels of low unemployment. Wages are now rising faster than inflation. We've got record investments in the NHS, 2.1 million more people since 2010 being seen in good and outstanding hospitals, almost 2 million more children in good and outstanding schools, having social mobility options. Well, actually, it is about being very clear about the things we are doing to make sure that we are a country and a government that's working for a country that delivers for everybody and gives them the opportunity of social mobility. And I think that is being delivered. And within the party, where we're seeing more women, over 400 more women looking to get involved and expressing an interest in standing for the party, doing more with BAME communities, who we certainly want to be connected with and having represent us across the country.
Well, let's talk about that, shall we? You're just talking there about how you've got more women coming forward. It's not a good look, is it, to have 3 women who are leaving the Conservative Party. You are obviously keen to focus on the reasons over Brexit, but these are women who, some of them were facing deselection. We've seen them being, abused and hounded on Twitter because of some of their views. Is it a toxic atmosphere in the Conservative Party as well? And surely this is on your watch as party chairman.
Well, let me just correct something there. None of them were subject to a deselection process. In this Parliament, no Conservative MP has been, and at this point in time, there are no Conservative MPs at risk of or going through a deselection process. It just formally isn't factually correct. There is actually, I do think, and I've spoken about this with you before in this programme, I think there is a growing toxic atmosphere online. Sarah Williston, outlined this challenge that's coming from some organisations on the right. They're not necessarily Conservative Party members, I have to say. We see it from the hard left, we've seen it from some on the hard right. And I think and one of the reasons I think it's important we get this white paper out there in terms of how the digital world is working, because I think there is a real problem for us all in society that the digital world, social media, people feel that sometimes they have this kind of cloak of anonymity and can behave in a way that in face-to-face and in public life should not be acceptable.
Do you think you need to do more to support Conservative MPs who are facing that kind of abuse?
Well, we're always working with colleagues. I've been talking with colleagues over the last few days as well about what we can do.
But what's the real answer here? Come on, do you think
one of the challenges is when you've got people online, and actually in most of these cases, these are not Conservative Party members. Some of the examples that I've been shown over the last few weeks of you see of abuse, they're coming either from the hard left or from leave.eu. They're not Conservative Party. They don't stand for the principles we stand for, and we will not tolerate it. I have to say very clearly, if we see abuse or bullying within the Conservative Party, with Conservative Party members, activists, elected representatives, we will deal with it, and we have done at every opportunity.
In the resignation letter, they also said this. The shift to the right, just wait for the quotation to appear, like magic, here it is. The shift to the right has been exaggerated by blatant entryism. A purple momentum is subsuming the Conservative Party. Are they right?
No, they're not, actually. I have to say, we have been working very hard over the last year to increase our membership. I want people to join our party who have not been members of parties before and from other parties. In fact, just on Wednesday, we had a Labour councillor join the Conservative Party, making us the largest party on Brighton Council, leaving Labour again because of anti-Semitism. We had a councillor leaving the Liberal Democrats joining us last week. That's a good thing, that's a positive thing, because we are a party that wants to represent people from all over the country and from all backgrounds and all beliefs in the past.
OK, now we have to talk about Brexit. The Prime Minister is trying to negotiate with other EU leaders in Egypt. Is there any chance that a deal could be ready next week?
Well, this conference out in Sharm el-Sheikh itself is not a Brexit conference. We're very clear about that, although it does give the Prime Minister an opportunity, obviously, to speak to other leaders again as further
she'll be meeting Donald Tusk,
yeah, she'll be meeting other leaders, but it's not a Brexit meeting in itself, and it's about wider issues, security, etc., as well, with the League of Arab Nations as well. But I think over the next period, obviously, the conversations and the negotiations are ongoing, and I am actually very confident and optimistic we will get an agreement. That means we can get a deal we can put to Parliament and get agreed and leave the EU on the 29th of March with a deal. Well,
the 29th of March is the key date, isn't it? Because we've had some members of the Cabinet coming forward to say that if there's no agreement, then they would like to vote for an extension to Article 50, a delay to Brexit. Should there be a free vote? Because if there isn't, then they're really defying Cabinet loyalty there, aren't they?
Well, at the core of their article, and actually the point they were making, is that they support the Prime Minister's deal and they want us to get this deal through. I'm not going to get into hypothetical about what happens after. No. Look, the reality is we're all focused on getting a solution to the backstop issue, that issue that is concerning
so can you rule out
most
free
people
vote?
in Parliament. Well, one of the things Parliament has already voted on is that Parliament has got a clear majority for the Prime Minister's deal with a solution to the concerns about the backstop. That's where the Prime Minister and the Cabinet's focus should be and is.
OK. I mean, there was some reports that you were trying to persuade the Prime Minister to make changes to the backstop rather than pivoting to a softer Brexit on the back of Labour votes. I mean, how important do you think it is that the deal goes through on the back of Conservative votes rather than Labour votes? I mean, are you basically putting your party before your country here?
Well, I never comment on private conversations I have with the Prime Minister or within Cabinet, but what I would say is actually if we have already got that vote in Parliament for the Prime Minister's deal with a solution on the backstop, the Brady Amendment that Graham Brady put forward that's got that majority, it is important we focus on doing that so we get it through Parliament. That's the majority in Parliament. I'm grateful and pleased that that would actually take the Conservative Party through the same lobbies together. That's the right thing to do because we are the government. But ultimately, it's about getting that majority in Parliament. The Brady Amendment showed exactly where that majority is. It's getting the Prime Minister's deal with a solution to the backstop. That means we leave on the 29th of March with a deal with the European Union.
Are you worried you're going to lose some more Conservative MPs in between that time?
I'm focused on actually making sure we get that deal through. And I believe if we get that deal agreed with a solution to the backstop, we can do that as one party together, remaining in government. And I think it is important we do what we can to get that deal agreed so we can get back to focusing on the issues that on doorsteps, even yesterday and on Friday and other days this week, my residents and residents across the country are talking to us about good schools, good hospitals, making sure their bins are collected, making sure the potholes are being filled, those issues that affect us every day.
Look forward to doing lots of interviews about bins and potholes in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.